All right, now we're given a sequence, but with this sequence, we're giving it in graph form. Okay, so it says, what are the first 6 terms of the sequence? Well, if we look at our graph, we see that our first term, so term on the bottom, value here, okay, and we see that our first term at 1 would be 0. Well, what's our second term? Our second term would be 3. Our third term would be 6. So I'm starting to see a pattern here. Fourth term would be 9. So what's our pattern? Our pattern is that we're going up by 3 each time. And then we'd have our 15. Okay, so we have our terms, but then it says, what is f of 10? What is f of 15? Now, we could sit here and we could count out 10 terms and then 15 terms. But what if your teacher decides to say, well, what about the 21st hundred term? What do you do then? Okay, so we have to come up with a better way. Now, what I see is that we're going up by 3 each time. Okay, but our first value has to be 0. So I have to actually backtrack 3 here to figure these all out. So f of 10 would be a fancy way of saying put x 10 in for x. So we would have 3 times 10 minus 3. So f of 10 would be 27. What would f of 15 be? Well, that would be 3 times 15, take away 3, which is 42. So I think our answers would be 27 and 42. But let's at least go out to 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, we have 6 of them so far. So 7th, 8th, 9th, and here we go. On the 10th one, we would see that we get 27. So don't worry too much about the equation now, because that is something we'll look at later, but that is how we'd figure it out. It says, describe how you go from one term to the next using complete sentences. Well, let's think about this. If we know one term in this sequence, well, how much are we adding each time? We're adding 3. So we can say to go from one term to the next, add 3. Describe how the graph changes from one term to the next using complete sentences. So we want to use values here. Term is our x value, value is our y value. So we'd say as each term increases by 1, value increases by 3.